Hi guys, I'm Caitlin and welcome to Kate's Kitchen Fit. Today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious and healthy recipe, turkey meatloaf. My meatloaf recipe starts with organic ground turkey, which is low in fat, high in protein, and like traditional meatloafs, we're going to keep all of the flavor, but we're going to use fresh vegetables, load it with spices, and keep all of the flavor. This recipe starts with 1 medium onion that is finely chopped. This is an avocado oil, which is high in monounsaturated fat and it has a high smoke point, so it's really good for sautéing. Just gonna throw this into the pan and get a nice caramelization on here. Mushrooms are loaded with moisture, so because we're using a lean cut of meat, the mushrooms will help keep everything moist and delicious. We're using about a cup of white button mushrooms. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of color here on these onions, which is exactly what we're looking for. And I'm just gonna add this cup of button mushrooms. And we want to add flavor like every step of the way, so we're going to season this with a little bit of sea salt. Turn down the heat. We just want to get a little bit of color on these mushrooms too. Let them start cooking down, and then we'll add it to the turkey meatloaf. We have a half a cup of chopped celery, a half a cup of red pepper, 4 cloves of garlic chopped. We're not sautéing these. We're going to keep them fresh for now. They're going to add a little bit of crunch and texture in the meatloaf later, and it's going to add lots of flavor, and it's going to maintain some color too. You always eat with your eyes first, so this is going to add a bit of freshness. Now it's time for the assembly of our meatloaf. We have sautéed the mushrooms and onions here lightly in a pan, and we're just going to basically add everything into one bowl. It's going to be super easy. I have 1 pound of organic ground turkey. Goes straight into the bowl. Then we have 2 tablespoons of organic Worcestershire sauce. Our spice blend is 2 tablespoons of oregano flakes, 1 tablespoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of each turmeric and cumin powder, and then a teaspoon of cayenne pepper for some spice. And that's going to go straight into the bowl. Here we have 2 tablespoons of coconut flour. Coconut flour is gluten-free and has lower calories and more fiber than traditional all-purpose flour does. So this is just 2 tablespoons of organic coconut flour, and we're going to add it straight to the bowl. So now we are going to crack 2 eggs into the bowl. These are organic, cage-free eggs. Here we have 2 tablespoons of organic Dijon mustard. If you can't find organic Dijon mustard, regular Dijon mustard works great. And now time for our fresh veg. We have a half a cup of chopped celery, a half a cup of red pepper, roughly chopped into the bowl, and we have 4 cloves of garlic, roughly chopped. Here we have about a half a cup of fresh parsley, which is going to add lots of color and flavor to our meatloaf. We have the beautiful onions and mushrooms that we sautéed. And I'm just going to add this straight into the bowl. And now we're going to add about 2 teaspoons of sea salt. We got everything in the bowl, and now we're ready to mix it all up. I'm going in with my hands just because it's easier, and you could tell when everything's kind of combined. I'm just using a glass loaf pan here, which I'm going to lightly grease with a little bit of avocado oil. I'm going to move the oil along the side. And now for the last step, we're going to take all of this meatloaf mixture and just put it into the glass baking dish. All right. This is an important step. You want to make sure all your meatloaf is firmly packed into the bottom of the dish, so that there is no air bubbles and everything cooks evenly. This looks so good. And as you can see, it is just bursting with color, which means tons of flavor and tons of texture. Okay, that is perfect. Okay, and the last and final step before we go into the oven is just a heavy dose of freshly cracked black pepper. And that's it, 350 degrees for 50 minutes. Okay, so I just pulled this meatloaf out of the oven. It baked at 350 for 50 minutes. And I have here organic barbecue sauce and ketchup. I mixed it together, equal parts. You just want to make sure there's no added high fructose corn syrup and a good source of sugar. So whether it's honey or organic brown sugar, you just want something that isn't processed sugar like high fructose corn syrup. So now I'm just going to pour this over the meatloaf. Nice and generous. And spread it out like so. And then to top it, if you want to keep this recipe completely in the poultry group, you could use turkey bacon, but here I have a really good source of organic, uncured, real bacon. I think it is actually a little bit more visually appealing as well. Okay, so we're almost done here. Just 5 minutes left. We're gonna throw it into the oven on a high broil for 5 minutes. Really get that bacon nice and crispy and the barbecue sauce caramelized. It's gonna be worth the wait. It looks amazing. Okay, so there you have it. A delicious turkey meatloaf. So easy. I cannot wait to dive into this. You can see the bacon is nice and crispy and the barbecue sauce is caramelized. Yum.